most important parts of anyone's life is the education that they receive in their youth, namely primary and secondary schools. In order for this education to mean anything, or for this education to teach them the skills and knowledge that they need to succeed in life, there has to be a good coordinated curriculum. The new curriculum of today is often lacking in the things that a student would need to survive in the real world, namely knowledge and ability to teach the material in a way that allows for learning. Of these deficits that the new curriculum has, there is skill-based learning, standardized testing, and new and convoluted methods. All of these pitch into creating a curriculum map that does not teach the required material in a relatable and efficient way for students to learn the skills they need. One of the biggest pushes of the new curriculum is skill-based learning. In skill-based learning, students are taught skills such as deciphering a text or picking apart the different pieces of a math problem and figuring it out that way, instead of actually learning the knowledge of reading or arithmetic. In theory, this sounds like a good idea. Skills later on in life are very important to learning new techniques, new methods for any job. But in the youth, there needs to be a good, strong knowledge base before skills can be taught. And that is where the skill-based learning goes awry. In the Atlantic's article by Natalie Wexter, there is a story about a school and a certain classroom. In this classroom, Natalie Wexter goes around and observes the students. And of the students, there is one that is drawing clowns on her paper. Upon further questioning, Natalie Wexter finds out that the students saw the words draw conclusions based upon the passage that they were supposed to read and thought that it meant draw clowns. There was no knowledge base to reinforce the ability to read or write, to even understand what the child was reading. This is the case for many students nowadays. There's not a good enough knowledge base to even interpret what is being seen in front of them, and then once they recognize what is in front of them, they are then able to use the skills that they are taught. There has to be a knowledge base first. Standardized testing is another big push of the new curriculum. In standardized testing, a state, region, area, whatever it may be, is given a goal to reach by a test. The test will include knowledge and skills that the people who make new curriculum deem as necessary. While this may be a good goal for schools to reach for or to strive for, it is not necessarily the best. The ones who make the curriculum are not always right and do not always take the opinion of the instructors or the ones that are in the workplace that actually know the skills that students need to succeed. In the Mercury News, they did a study and talked to many former instructors. Namely, one of them was a former instructor who is now a disabled student helper, disabled student aide. And this former teacher looks upon the new curriculum and says that it is not valid. It is not teaching the things that are required for a workplace. The skills that the new standardized tests call for is not what a job or an employer would want. And often, another case of standardized testing, another bad case of it, is leading to teachers teaching this test solely instead of teaching the actual knowledge needed. This often demoralizes or defranchises teachers because they are often looking at these tests and wondering, I know what I'm doing. Why must I follow what a test says rather than what I know my students will need to survive, leading to demoralized teachers that do not want to teach or do not want to teach effectively anymore, since their voices are now not being heard. And finally, one of the other areas that is being affected by the new curriculum especially is math. Namely, their skills and methods that are being taught. In the new curriculum, most early education systems are using new convoluted and complex ways of teaching simple arithmetic, such as addition, multiplication, subtraction, and division. These new branches of learning are not giving the skills to the students. They're actually taking them away. They are not able to understand why 2 + 2 = 4 without using a chart to prove it, instead of knowing that 2 + 2 = 4. One of the studies that USA Today does in their article by Aaron Richards showed that in one of the recent studies in the late 2010s showed that out of a survey done with 79 of the biggest first world countries, that America only placed 31st. We are barely in the bottom half. We are not getting the education to the students that they deserve. So I suggest that new curriculum maps follow a plan set out by instructors and by employers in the real world that follow exactly what they believe, the ones that are teaching and the ones that are needing the educated young adults to be there. I suggest that they are the ones who create the curriculum maps, that they are the ones that decide what needs to be taught, because they are ultimately the ones that will put the skills that the students are learning into practice.